Hello, and welcome to a post on Medusa meets the Millikan oil drop experiment. It is so hot today, and my brain feels like it is melting. That is why I can't seem to sharpen up this train of thought, this post. Then again, on some days, melted thoughts may be soothing and spark something unexpected in the viewer. Today I am Medusa, installed in the temple of Einstein, where any man who sees my face will be turned to stone. I wonder when Perseus will come to collect my head. If you know that gravity is a quantum resonance, you must die and die again. Die 1,000 times in a multiverse of hells. Hiss. Maxwell's displacement current was an approximation of an instantaneous appearance of a particle that can never be measured directly unless you wish to unleash Eris, goddess of chaos and destruction. Tomorrow I may be Psyche, desperate to see the face of Cupid. He visits me in my dreams, but I don't know who he is. While I find it easy to cast myself into the various myths, I find it difficult to cast the characters I have created in my novels into specific mythological roles. They feel more unique to me, and I wonder why that is. Perhaps it is because I have created them, whereas the myths have created me, in some Pygmalion-like sense. Greek myths are too violent and serious. Perhaps it is better and safer to deal with the flaws in the scientific community through a more oblique comedic approach. Nobody should lose their head over silly matters of science. I know. Tell that to Galileo. The LIGO team, the gravitational waves team, and their defenders have dug a nice deep black hole of complexity, losing sight of flaws that are clear to anyone who has not been sucked into the project's gravitational embrace. By the standards of the modern physics community, this is unfortunately equivalent to proving their case. They have proven that they are willing to pick up a shovel and spend decades digging, sacrificing so much to gain so little. No one helps them climb out once they've lost sight of the sun. I somehow escaped from a similar black hole of research, FEL engineering for a better picture of a protein, only to be handed a new shovel and told to start digging a new hole that might someday become big enough to siphon off some LIGO fans. But for what purpose? To save them from the event horizon? Too late for that. To orbit a black hole isn't much more fun than being stuck in one, and either way, black holes are invisible to most people. You have to be a true believer to see them. Nach dem Spiel ist vor dem Spiel, and what if there is nothing to be won by being taken seriously and seen by officially sanctioned, serious, true believers of black holes? Sometimes when you win, you lose, and it isn't clear to me that this is a game worth winning. Perhaps I'd rather be a shooting star than reign supreme over my very own black hole. Maybe that is the trick, to move fast enough relative to something that is well grounded in Cartesian space that I might slingshot around LIGO's black hole and find myself orbiting around something far warmer. I'd rather get all brown and wrinkly with the sun worshippers than trap myself within the cold comfort of another black hole of perseveration. Perseveration or perseverance. Was that what they named the new Mars rover? I read that it weighed over a ton. Why do I not believe that they actually sent a 1.5-ton rover to Mars, when the dry mass of the ascent stage of Apollo 11 was 2,400 kilograms, and it held 2,376 kilograms of propellant. I mean, most of the rocket was made of fuel, not of rovers. While I do think that their rover is sitting in some secret NASA warehouse somewhere rather than in a spacecraft bound for Mars, I don't think that everything they're doing is nonsense. I'm not a black-white thinker. So, take a shovel, do the work, you say. Dig your own black hole or contribute to someone else's hole. That is what science is about, digging holes deep enough to obscure the ugliness of the theoretical landscape from people who might spend their time doing more disruptive things. No, thank you. I'll catch you on my next orbit. It will be highly eccentric. I'll burn up on re-entry, you say? Not a chance. I'm a comet, not a meteor, and I don't plan to self-destruct. It is true that my terrifying tail stretches from here to Jupiter, relativistically speaking, but to a Cartesian I look much smaller and less threatening. If I collide with Earth, I will make a mess, you say? I doubt it. I would merely kiss it on the cheek and cause it to tilt by an amount so small that even LIGO couldn't measure it. Ah, but what a show I would make. My relativistic mass and my rest mass are so different and hard to ascertain that the uncertainty of my approach may be terrifying, but have faith, I mean no harm. I think I'd rather write fiction for children than be a scientist, and although it doesn't pay the bills, it does feel like a reasonable way to hedge my bets in uncertain times. I suppose that my philosophy is work locally, think globally. And when I was a scientist, I was working globally and thinking locally. Before the coronavirus was underway, the corona crisis, I remember the big issue in the culture wars was the crisis of masculinity, in which men turned to video games, violent porn, and extremism after having lost the avenues to engage in the economy and feel like men, because the old men were spending all of their money on the sugar babies they should have been dating. All it takes to be a woman is to have a baby, but to be a man is complicated when women are after the same programming and physics jobs that men traditionally viewed as their ways to express their masculinity and feel heroic. It is as though they have been corralled in the hall of mirrors that is physics, awaiting some medusa to bring their playhouse crashing down around them. What a plot twist it would be for Medusa to be transformed back into her original lovely form. Is there ever any going back for such characters, or does entropy doom us all? I think that Sabina Hosenfelder was becoming a right fine Medusa, but over the last year the SciComm apparatus flipped her, and she has become a regular vanilla pop scientist, towing the party line. For the first 6 years of her apostatic physics career, she only accumulated 1,000 YouTube followers with the sort of content that hinted at burgeoning self-awareness and comedy. I have the videos linked below in the blog post. I recommend them. Then, starting about a year ago, she was officially accepted as a certified thought leader, invited to conferences far and wide, and she began to gain 20,000 followers per month with more typical pop science content. Are her new 100,000 followers on YouTube bots? Who cares? They will amplify her voice, and that voice will reinforce the establishment by using her mildly subversive brand to repeat the myths of modern physics, and keep her busy so that she doesn't produce any more subversive content or confusing content. The last thing you want is people getting confused and doing their own thinking. That's the worst. So in one of her most recent videos, she pays homage to Albert Einstein, a man who was actually quite an idiot if you know something about physics. And I have a link down there to why you should think twice about what you believe about Albert Einstein. Sabina's music videos. They are actually the best thing I've found all year. And the reason that I like them is that I really like ambiguous, slightly confusing humor and absolutely uncooked authenticity. And that's something she used to have way back in her early days, but now that the system has gotten its hooks into her, she is not doing that so much anymore. It's a pity. So I'm taking up that torch. You know, you kill one medusa, another one just springs right back up. That's how it works, folks. Gotta find a better solution. Thank you for watching. Until next time, please tune in and check out my my novels. They're like science fiction satire of science culture. I think you would like them. Thanks.